Hello YouTube and welcome to Beck Treks Australia. In this video I'm day 5 on the Overland track in Tasmania. And boy, we've got a big day ahead of us. We've decided, right, we're going to get up nice and early and we're going to double hut today. So we started this morning at Clair, and what we're doing is we're going to hit the two sites to see along the way today, and they are two separate falls. We've got the Ferguson and Dalton falls in a similar area, and then further down the track the Harnett falls, and they are approximately a 1 hour each diversion. I think the Harnett falls estimated to take an hour and a half. From there we'll move on to Windy Ridge, where Burton Nichols Hut is located, and further on from that, another 9 kilometers down the track, the Narcissus Hut, and that's where we plan on staying the night. So a big day ahead of us, and thankfully you can see by the track we've got a pretty nice even gradient for us so far.
Is this dark and still and quiet in the forest? It's spitting a little outside and quite windy, but how dark is it? You can't see anything. Shit.
The forest carried on like this for quite a majority of the morning. It was actually very spectacular and had a very strange feeling to it. I guess because of the darkness of it and the beauty and all the moss and the water and the canopy. So it was really quite a magical walk this morning. Didn't take us too long and we discovered the Duquesne Hut. There is a mighty big tent platform there, and I think there's several other little areas you can set up your tent in. This hut also has a toilet and is just a good spot in general to stop if you want to have breakfast later on the track, or if you even wanted to stay the night and wanted to walk beyond Clair, you could have kept going and stayed in this hut. So just up this path here, there's a little water source. I don't believe there's a water tank here, so you will have to collect your water if you do choose to stay here. So as you can see, this is the water source. It wasn't too far down the road, but it's not a lot of water flowing through it, and we have had quite a bit of rain, so I just don't know how much there'll be if you haven't had rain for a little while. So we carried on, a bit more forest. It's been consistent like this all day. Very spectacular views. We found some quite interesting mushrooms along the way, lots of moss. It's just very magical, and yeah, very nice rainforest we're walking through. So we've come up to the Ferguson Falls and Dalton Falls. This first fall is the Ferguson Falls. These, by the way, all three of these are magnificent, and I recommend you visiting every single one along the way if you get the opportunity. So this one took us about 40 minutes to see the Ferguson Falls and the Dalton Falls. So just be very careful in this area. The ground isn't the greatest, and being so close to the cliffside, you could potentially the ground could break beneath you and you could fall in. So no one wants that. That water is icy. This falls here are the Dalton Falls. And this one is at the base of the Harnett Falls. That one is about a 1.5 kilometer return trip to the falls, and that's just to the top area. You then have to walk down into the valley and get this spectacular view, which is absolutely amazing. If you've got a good camera, pull your camera out for that shot right there. So that is the Harnett Falls. You can also go up to the higher area to the top of the falls. You can see the water, I guess, before it hits the falls. It's actually nothing spectacular, so I recommend just go straight down the hill to the path sort of to the left where it branches off. There's another mushroom we found in that mossy area. And not too much further on, we found Duquesne Gap. We arrived at about 12:10 p.m. So we did leave Kia Ora at 8 o'clock in the morning. We spent 40 minutes at the Ferguson and Dalton Falls, 50 minutes at the Hartnett Falls. We got to Duquesne Gap at 12:10, and then we approximate that it would be another hour to the Windy Ridge area with the Burton Nichols Hut. So plenty of things to see along the way, plenty of good places to stop. This is where we met a friendly ranger on the track. So all the staff here on trail are absolutely fantastic. So very diverse forest again. A lot of it is mossy and rainforest growth. More mushrooms to look at. So we've arrived at the Burton Nichols Hut, and boy were we impressed. We actually felt a bit bad that we were skipping this hut. There are several large sleeping platforms. This hut comfortably sleeps 24 people. There are numerous bunks, and I believe again it's one of those huts, if more need to fit in there, more will easily cram into this space. Very comfortable area. So in front, behind this sort of tin wall, there's a big area to store your wet equipment, your packs, get things to dry out. Downstairs to the left you've got a dining hall, and to the right you've got a small, I guess, dining area as well. So you got plenty of space to spread out. This is a very nice place to stop. And we do regret not staying here overnight purely because how nice the hut was. But that's not what we're here to do though. Nothing beats sleeping out in your tent. So we carried on. We're now heading towards Narcissus Hut. That was only about another 9 kilometers from Windy Ridge. You can see the forest has drastically changed. It's now not so rainforesty and not so mossy. You do still get small parts, but most of it's transitioning to more natural native Australian bushland. But there certainly are good shots of small streams and moss as you get to the lower points of the track. This is the point where you can branch off to Pine Valley Hut. That's a 4.5 kilometer one-way trip. I would recommend doing that if you want to just add an extra day to your overland journey. There's a limited tenting there, but it is a 24-person hut, so you've got plenty of space in there, and not everyone does it, so I don't imagine it should get too overcrowded. However, you do get people hike in from the backside, I guess, of the overland track and do a 1 or 2 day trip, so you might encounter other hikers doing that sort of thing. There is an option to climb a mountain nearby, so you could make that 2 nights at Pine Valley Hut, so you can spend, I guess, a rest day hanging around the hut. I believe it's very scenic, and then you can climb the mountain and then head back onto the overland the next day. So we got to the Narcissus River. It didn't take us too long. We found this beautiful suspension bridge, 1 person at a time, and when you walk over it you'll understand why it says 1 person at a time. It is extremely bouncy and wobbly, and you could see someone like getting flung off if someone were to jump on one end. So this is the river, absolutely spectacular. And at this stage the rain was starting to come in, the clouds were forming, so we arrived at the hut. This was the river right at the side of the hut. Absolutely beautiful. My partner had a dunk in the river, absolutely freezing, but I think he found it was worthwhile doing. So that was Narcissus Hut.
Z-Packs triplex tent. Fred's got his stuff there, and there's plenty of room. It's really comfortable sitting here. I'm not in the centre, I'm offset from the centre, and there's still plenty of headroom for me. Drawn up there between the 2 ends, there's a little area for that little hook in there for that, so I've got my stuff just airing out here. And
so that's my setup for the night. Again, another night of rainfall. Test the tent out, and what a beautiful view. And right behind us is the beautiful river. So we've picked a fantastic spot. The hut only sleeps about 18 people. It is quite tight, and there are certainly many camping areas to set up your tent on natural surface. I don't believe there are any tent platforms here, so certainly go find a nice place by the river and set up. That's my biggest recommendation if you're at Narcissus Hut. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please do like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more.